Welcome to Step Up and Thrive, where you get quick and easy tips on business management, productivity, stress management, work-life balance, and marketing. I am Tuuli Paksi, personal development coach, and my task here is to introduce you to various ways to succeed in business while keeping the sanity. Today, we are speaking about virtual working spaces, and my guest is daRosa. Liz has over 20 years of experience supporting organizations as they pivot and maintain relevance in this high-growth economy. Career highlights include presentations on 3 continents on various aspects of the changing nature of work and career development. Liz has been published in peer-reviewed and regional journals and has provided ghost content for organizations spanning the world of work, compliance, and leadership. Welcome, Liz, to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, it's glad to have you. Finally, we have attempted this interview for 3 months.
Right. You know, life happens.
Life happens. You have started your career in universities and colleges. Can you please share what it took to become a performance coach and digital marketing strategist and also have your own business?
Sure, absolutely. So, it was really, I've been really lucky in my career in that it's taken several different turns. And I thought I was going to do one thing that was my dream. And then I ended up doing 2 other fabulous things. And so I actually got into teaching I got a handwritten note in the mail from my department chair. And he said, "I couldn't find your phone number. Will you come teach?" Amazing. And I wish I would have kept that handwritten note. I mean, I can remember what it looks like. And so that got me into that career space. Amazing, just different ways I've been able to interact with, students and other educators. That's been truly amazing. And then the pivot to the performance coach and digital strategist piece was after I had been in education for a while and I was laid off. And, that was almost 7 years ago. And I thought, you know what, I still want to teach a little bit, but I'm a little burned out from the administration piece. So let me go in a different direction. And I loved, interacting with the students and really helping to mentor them. And I thought, what could I do? And so, I jumped into the digital space and slowly started to grow there and then do coaching. And so that was really, a way to kind of add the skills that I had learned in education, just with a different population. And so it's been great, but it wasn't anything that I was growing up thinking, I want to be a performance coach. I want to do digital strategy or even quite honestly, to be an educator. It's amazing when you look back on your life and think, I wonder what it would have been if it would have been what my dream was. And, and I'm using air quotes with that, right? I mean, the dream may not have been as great as my reality. So that's how I have to look at it, not as what I missed, but, what I would have missed if I didn't have the life that I have now.
That's really good.
Absolutely.
So most businesses had to reinvent their business in March when lockouts were established. Mm-hmm. What was on your to-do list back then?
Sure. It was definitely going into companies and doing face-to-face consulting, right? It was doing presentations to large groups because I'm used to doing that with teaching. I love doing that. It gives me a lot of energy. And so immediately I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Right. And of course, everything went digital and it's like, well, I've already got this great presence online. So that was a very easy pivot to just then reach out to different organizations and different people in my network and say, I can do presentations this way on Zoom or on Teams or, on WebEx or anything like that to be able to help bring value to their organization by then sharing my skill set. So, I was very lucky in that I did have that digital presence to be able to tap into, but I know that, just so many people didn't have that to be able to make that jump into, delivering their content almost seamlessly.
Mm.
So, really, really grateful and blessed to be able to do that, because of course, nobody could have foreseen, right, that we would have all had to go online for everything.
It was quite a surprise for so many people. And for some, the business has been really flourishing. And for others, they are considering bankruptcy.
Right.
So what actually is this different thing or difference in between those two sides, flourishing and bankruptcy?
Right. And I think on our daily basis, right, we're sort of in our life, if we look at ourselves, maybe not our business per se, but our life, not every day is you feel at the top of the mountain, but not every day you also feel like you're in the dumps, right? It's we're in that middle range, and I think that's part of, having happiness in your life is realizing that there's going to be real, real highs and there's going to be real, real lows, but enjoying the middle ground, which is hopefully the majority of your life, that you can just wake up and be grateful and look around at the people and the things that you have and be grateful and help elevate that middle feeling to maybe not reach the highs, because I mean, those are amazing, right? That's things like, having babies, getting, a great career bump in our pay, or meeting the love of our life, or a great trip around the world. But those aren't everyday things, right? And so it's finding the gratitude in the normal, right? In whatever your normal is, and being able to look and say, you know what, I'm grateful that I had the presence online, that I could still earn money to support my family, right? And that's something that brings me great happiness. Of course, I miss going out, right? And as everybody does, and just going and doing this and that, but it's more focusing on what I've been able to continue, and elevate that into, more happiness and gratitude moments.
You mentioned gratitude and you mentioned this new normal.
Mm-hmm.
What are your tips, tricks, and strategies for navigating the new normal?
Sure, absolutely. Well, it's definitely, and maybe people don't look at it in terms of gratitude. And I know not every day, I have moments of gratitude, right? I mean, a few people do, but it's really looking around, and I look around and see what extra things, my husband is doing as a result of this new normal. And he may have, quite frankly, been doing them before, right? But I didn't notice it. But now we're together all the time, and I'm seeing it. So it's opened my eyes to contributions that he's probably always made, to be honest with you. And then it's also opened my eyes to being closer to my children, because we've really gotten to know the kids, because you're day in, day out, and you have the struggles, and you're talking about things you probably wouldn't have talked about. We didn't talk about world events, and health, and, like global health issues before with the kids. And so it's really having, the kids then asking us questions they wouldn't have asked before. So it's nice to be able to talk to them, about these issues, and really being able to appreciate what we've probably all done, and we just didn't realize it because we were so busy. Let's go to soccer. Let's go here. Let's go there. And so it really has also helped us then to slow down. And we realized, and especially when the holidays were here, and when you and I were initially trying to connect, that what I noticed is, and we love our family. We love going, and we're grateful that we have local family that we can get together to, again, before the pandemic. But when the holidays came, instead of rushing to get out the door to go to their house, we were slowly getting ready, and slowly this and slowly that, and just enjoying the getting dressed up, and enjoying the preparing the food and setting the table. And we didn't have to rush out the door. And of course, we missed the being together with our family. and we've missed being together with friends and things like that. But it's really allowed us to look at each other and say, we're pretty cool. We love each other, and this is why. And it, kind of gets you a little emotional, right? Because it's like, these are really some neat people that I live with. And I am thankful that I'm not living alone, because, I do think about, people who have been living alone this whole year and really have had that isolation. So I try not to think about the isolation that I feel, because I do have other people. So that's really been kind of the new normal. That's, I think is kind of, I hope that's here to stay, that piece of it, that we slow down and say, you know what, if we don't get there for 30 more minutes, it's okay. If we're late to something, it's okay. And not get back to this speed of everything is just go, go, go. And we're enjoying family meals and right. All of that stuff that before it was like, hurry up, you got to get fast food because you got to go to soccer, and then you have to go to this, and you have to go to, and all of us did it in some way, whatever the sport was or activity. And just to say, you know what, now we're trying these great gourmet meals, and, because we can't go out. So it's like, we're still eating the great food. It's just, we're creating it together. And it's nice, because then like our kitchen table is actually like the place to be. Right. And it's where we're sharing everything. And it's nice to be able to slow down, because I think, especially as, women and as business owners, you're constantly pulled in many different directions, and you don't feel like you can slow down because something is going to fall. Well, I mean, quite frankly, everything fell, right, for everybody for a couple months. And then everybody kind of picked it back up. And so it's now, it's almost being a forced to prioritize, and we've all had to kind of prioritize what's physically right in our immediate area. So that's really been what the new normal is for me.
Mm. How about working with teams? You mentioned that you had to do those what normally would have been face-to-face meetings. Now everything went into virtual phase. Do you have any suggestions or tips how to manage that one? Because we cannot live in total isolation only with our family. That business still requires some connection with others.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, definitely working with teams can be challenging, because there's always somebody on the team that isn't as tech savvy as everyone else, right? But the trick with that is you need to know that beforehand and work with that person to say, okay, this is how you log in. This is how you turn on your video. This is how you need to have your lighting. So they need some coaching beforehand, just on the setup piece, right? And then to practice with them so they feel comfortable, right? And then showing them, this is how you turn your video off, or this is how you this, or this is how you that. Because if they feel comfortable navigating it, then when they're joining with the rest of the team, it's going to be a better experience for everybody. Because otherwise, then people are going to be rolling their eyes because they're waiting for the one person. And you don't want that, right? You don't want somebody to be singled out because maybe they don't have the tech savviness. And so really it's, leaders, managers, the people on your team who's not up to speed, even after a year, right? To be honest, I mean, there's some people that maybe you haven't taken the time to really have that discussion and say, you know what, I know you're struggling. Let's have 15 minutes, or pair them with the person in IT, right? It's not necessarily your job to do it. Pair them with somebody else in the company to say, you mentor this person on how to feel comfortable using whatever video platform you're using, or using whatever, texting, or if you use Slack or Asana or whatever digital, components that you're using to help increase productivity. Help the folks that aren't just naturally, just great with that, or they've really been shying away from it because their job really isn't technical, right? And so they haven't, maybe they're the paper and pen people, and the technology is like overwhelming to them. And so, if you don't have the time or the skills to help them, pair them with somebody else, whether it's IT or somebody else on the team or a different team, and just say, you know what? And it gives that other person an opportunity then to mentor somebody. And so that's an amazing opportunity for both, because it's a win-win. And then that person will feel more confident on the meetings, and, then will be a better teammate and perceived, like more of an equal on the team as well.
Thank you for that one. And now it's time for our quick tip section. And this is something what we do regularly on our podcast. And my question is, what is your biggest revelation about working in the virtual space?
My biggest revelation is that everyone has been pretty accepting of it, which is amazing, because, I've been doing this for a long time, and, 18 years I've been working online. And it's like, when I first started doing it, people were like, oh, you teach online or you coach online, right? There's a little judgment, like, oh, you're not going face to face. And I would do that. But it's like, everybody now is like, oh yeah, online's the place to be. And so it's accepted now, right? It was almost looked down on, I think, is that people thought like online wasn't as serious, or you couldn't get things done online. So I think just in seeing like the light bulb moments with people, that they're able to successfully run their company, or they're able to have meetings, they're able to do all of these things. It's like, yep. And there's a lot more that we can do, right? That we haven't yet done, just because I think now we're kind of all reaching our stride and people are settling into it. So I think, that just seeing the light bulbs with people when they're posting things on LinkedIn or Facebook or anything, like, I did it. I was able to do this. And it's like, of course you can. It's just like being face to face.
Thank you. Yes, and that's true. Online hasn't been so popular as it has been during this 1 year.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Liz, for joining us and sharing all those great tips. And if our listeners would like to know more about you and follow you, where can they do so?
Sure. So I'm on all the major platforms, and I'm either at Dr. Liz daRosa or at Liz daRosa. And, love to connect with everybody, anybody who, is just looking for positivity, just looking to network, just looking to follow each other. That's all great. Love to just, learn more about different people, and, wherever they live and whatever they do, we can all take something wonderful away from each other.
Oh, yes. And we are online.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much again. And all the links you'll find on our show notes. So please come and check, and please contact Liz.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Come and check all the show notes and transcript at stepupandthrivepodcast.com/19. Thank you for joining Step Up and Thrive with Liz daRosa. I'm your host, Tuuli Paksi. Tune in 2 weeks.